Hi everybody, we're talking Ironman live today. TFP's Lesley and our outdoors reporter, right? Yeah, David Cobb. So we're going to tell you the when, where, who, what, and everything you need to know. Let's start with when. That's important.
Starts Sunday morning out here at Ross's Landing, Ironman Chattanooga. This is the third year for the full Ironman here in town.
Big deal.
More than 2,700 athletes scheduled to be in town. So hotels are filled. There might be some streets closed, so beware.
Yeah, traffic. Ouch. And talking about what a big deal this is to do a full Ironman 2.4 mile swim. That might not sound that bad, but it's pretty hard on your arms and your legs. Yeah. And I'm going to try to be there for the beginning of that bright and early. It starts 7:20 a.m.
Yeah,
But
good
what
luck.
time should I get there?
Well, there'll be activity down at the riverfront as early as 4:30 a.m.
Wonderful.
That's when some of the athletes will start checking in and getting ready for what is truly one of the longest days imaginable.
So I guess I shouldn't bring coffee before they do that, right?
You're going to need a lot of coffee.
Maybe some charcoal that I'm drinking.
Does that have caffeine in it?
It has detoxifying properties, so I don't know.
Well, drink that after you've drinking coffee all day for the Ironman.
Okay, so we'll bring some water. So that's going to be early. We're going to try to cover that, get some video for you on our Facebook page and on our website. But beyond that swim, 116-mile bike ride and a 26.2-mile run. Just saying these words seems like, a workout. Exhausting.
It is. It's truly, the word Ironman is appropriate in every sense of the word, because if you complete one of these things, you are in amazing physical condition. And the thing about it is, a lot of times people expect Ironman competitors to be these, jacked people who are bodybuilders who don't have 9-to-5 jobs and just work out all day. But in reality, these are just regular people, a lot of them. And that's what's so inspiring about it, is if you go out there and watch, you might expect there to be, like I said, these just jacked Greek goddesses running around out there or something, but that's not the case.
That's not what I'm going to see.
No, it's not. So sorry to disappoint you, Lesley, but no, it's just going to be regular people, and it really is inspiring when you see somebody run by and you're like, hey, they're not all that different than me. Maybe I could do one of these things.
Let's talk about some of these people. We have information about them, the age range, and some of their professions. They're just like us.
Yeah, a few of them aren't. There are some.
We'll talk about those amazing stories too. Yeah, we have those too.
There are some professionals who are doing this. Ironman Chattanooga has a really great reputation. This is the third year on a 5-year contract for the full Ironman here. And in the previous 2 years, it's gotten great approval ratings from competitors. Just for its ability to be a host city. They host these events all over the world, and by all measures, Chattanooga is a fairly well-respected city. For Ironman
Definitely.
events.
It's brought a lot to Chattanooga economically, with the athletic community, and beyond those nurses, teachers, maybe reporters, all sorts of what you could say normal professions here in Chattanooga. Let's talk about these professionals and how amazing some of these accolades are that they've received.
Yeah, there'll be a few dozen professionals out there. They'll finish starting at about 8 hours, between the 8 to 9 hour range. And then just to put that in perspective, you have 16 hours and 15 minutes, I believe it is, to finish the entire race. So some of the professionals will feasibly finish twice as fast as the last finishers, with, again, a 2.4 mile swim, 116 mile bike ride, and then running a marathon to cap it off, 26.2 miles. So a name that some people might recognize if you followed this event at all during his first 3 years in Chattanooga, Matt Hansen, who won the inaugural Ironman Chattanooga back in 2014. He's going to be back this year to race. He's also a 2015 North American Ironman
Where is he
champion. Iowa. So
Storm Lake, Iowa.
You do get a lot of international competitors as well, though. But Matt's an American competitor. But there's folks from, let me check this, 28 countries who will be here in town this week.
Awesome.
A lot of them are probably already here now. You don't just show up the night before the race for an Ironman. You kind of come a little bit early most of the time to get the lay of the land and sort of acclimate yourself to the surroundings. So 28 countries, 47 states represented as well on Sunday for Ironman Chattanooga.
And pretty cool, too, 40 age group qualifying slots for the 2017 Ironman World Championship taking place in Hawaii. That would be pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's kind of out there in Hawaii, the annual World Championships. That's the sort of the big kahuna, if you will, of Ironman events.
Kahuna, good one.
That's there's the sort of marquee event is out there in Hawaii every year. So some folks who do well enough on Sunday will qualify for that. And of course, next year in Chattanooga, we are hosting the Ironman 70.3 World Championships. So if you do the math in your head, that's a half Ironman. So next year we'll be the first city in Ironman history to host a regular 70.3, the 70.3 World Championships, and a full Ironman all in the same calendar year.
Go Chattanooga. Yeah. And let's talk about some of these amazing stories we have for you too about like the oldest Ironman to, I know there was one with cancer. Let's talk about some of these stories. Really cool.
Yeah, well, I don't want to give too much away because I've got a story.
Okay, tell us what's coming.
Yeah.
Tell us what you can expect.
Well, I had a chance to sit down with a local guy who is competing. He's a veteran Ironman competitor, but this year is a special year for him. He's a UTC English professor, and he is competing this year with his 18-year-old son. His son is going to be the only 18-year-old in the race, or the youngest competitor. There may be another 18-year-old, but Devin is the youngest competitor in the entire field, and he's running the race, doing the race with his father. They've got a really cool story. So check out the Times Free Press in the next few days.
They're from Ottawa?
To get that story, yeah.
Okay.
So they're local folks. You know, they come from all over the world and all over the country, but there's a lot of folks here locally who do this too, and I think that's definitely worth noting. And so I'm going to highlight this father-son duo in the coming days and kind of explain why they're doing this and
side by side.
Right.
I wonder if they'll stay side by side.
Yeah, well, you'll have to read
We'll have
the
to
paper.
Yeah. So Gene and Devin. Can you say their last name?
It's hard to pronounce, but I know how to spell it.
Yeah. Vaudreuil. So good luck, you guys. We'll be looking out for you. We'll be looking out for that story. When is that story going to be? Next couple days?
I think it's Friday's paper. Okay. You know, sometimes it's
varies,
subject to change.
What's going on here.
We're getting some pictures of them running tonight. So look for that. And then also I've got a story that just sort of is an overview. Some of the things that we've discussed here already, but kind of talking, there's so many elements to putting on an Ironman event. And making sure it goes off smoothly, just purely from an infrastructure standpoint. You've got Chattanooga Police, the Hamilton County Sheriff's Office, all of the agencies that they partner with on a regular basis, all coming together. This one is extremely complicated because it crosses jurisdictional lines. Much of the bike race is in Walker County, Georgia. So you've got this huge course just in terms of square miles, and so it requires a lot of public and law enforcement agencies to come together and make sure that things go off smoothly.
And it requires a lot of coverage on our end to you, so we want to know what you want to see. Certainly a lot of inspiring stories we mentioned, but what are we thinking? We're going to be everywhere, right?
Yeah.
Sunday.
And the cool thing about it is, if you guys remember last year, it's going to be hard to top it this year, but last year was the closest finish in Ironman history.
Oh, really?
Yeah, these two competitors tumbled across the finish line. The first two competitors
we got a picture of that, right?
They tumbled across. Doug Strickland got amazing photos of
Great
that.
photographer here at the TFP.
It was great. This year we've got Dan Henry taking pictures all over the course. That's what I'm most excited about from our coverage standpoint, is the great photos that Dan is going to get.
Well, what about the Facebook Live?
Oh yeah. We'll be there.
That's
doing that too.
a first year for that, right?
Yeah.
So tell us what you want to see. I mean, we have the swim, all these moments that if we can catch them are so cool to see. You can feel the excitement and the tension and the competitive drive when you're at these things. So, you know, a picture says 1,000 words, or a video. So we'll definitely try to do that. Where are you going to be? Where are you going to be, David?
I'll be all over. I'm going to take my bicycle out and start off probably at Ross's Landing. You said you're going to get up in time to be at the swim start.
I am.
I don't plan on being at the swim start because it's going to be a long day. Hopefully,
I know.
Get all that covered for us. But I'll be around. Another fun place to go for during the bike portion of the event is to go down to Chickamauga, Georgia. The riders come right through the town square there in Chickamauga.
It's really cool there.
Yeah, it's about a 30-minute drive south of downtown Chattanooga to get down there to Chickamauga, and it's a cool scene. They've got
a lot of bike races go on there.
Yeah, they've got a guy on a microphone who's calling people's names as they come through. Some of the stores that are typically closed on Sundays will be open to accommodate the spectators who will be down there. So
Thank you, business owners.
That's a cool scene as well.
Very cool, very cool. And I can't help but look at all these stories, and I've heard about some of these people before. 130-pound weight loss in 1 year. A guy named Dylan Mills will be
local
competing
guy.
From Cleveland, Tennessee. Have you met Dylan before? Have you heard about this story?
I haven't, but
Yeah.
it's a common theme, and it's just one of so many stories that make what people do during the Ironman inspiring. Because like I said, they are regular folks who are out there doing this. Obviously, there are some professionals. There are some people who eat, live, and breathe this. But for the most part, that's not who you're going to see out here on Sunday. You're going to see average folks who are, for whatever reason, doing this insane race to prove something to themselves or to their loved ones, or just to say that they've done it. And that's what's cool about it.
Very cool, and that some of them have been through amazing or have beaten amazing odds. A cancer survivor told he would never walk again without assistance. Bill Tracy, 46 years old, from Appleton, Tennessee. It's amazing. There's so many. An active duty sailor honoring cousin who lost battle with pediatric cancer. Somebody who's lost over 120 pounds, high blood pressure and diabetes, battling that, and we all know what exercise can do for those sort of things. But there's just so many amazing stories. And this reminds me of the story we've been covering about Nathan, a young man here from Chattanooga. Tell me his last name again.
Nathan Sexton.
Nathan Sexton and his wife Elizabeth. Thanks you guys. We talk on Facebook, but he's been running in a lot of marathons across the country, and he's also battling stage 4 brain cancer. So this, just what you're saying about these people going through something, and this kind of stuff really helps them. Yeah,
it's amazing how endurance sports sort of bring out these amazing stories and these amazing people. It's not something that you see every day as somebody facing just tremendously challenging circumstances who's willing to put themselves through another tremendously challenging circumstance and competing in Ironman or running a marathon, something like that. It is very inspiring. I know that I've used that word a lot, but I think
it's really more than a race. It has a lot more going on than that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. Let's go over everything just one more time for those of you who may have tuned in. Let's get the logistics out of the way again. The when, what, where, all that. Who, when.
Sunday.
7:20 a.m. That swim starts. 2.4 mile swim, 116 mile bike, 26.2 mile run. That's the big one. Those legs are going to be like jello at the end of that, right? And where does it start?
The run.
Everything. Where does it swim?
The swim starts downstream at the curtain pole entrance to the Tennessee River Park off of Amnicola Highway. They'll get out of the water at Ross's Landing, transition to the bike, which takes them down through Walker County, Georgia, down through the Chickamauga Town Square, back up. They do that loop twice, and then they'll transition again at Ross's Landing to the run. That sort of takes them all over town, more local here in Chattanooga, right. And then of course they finish the whole thing at Ross's Landing. Some competitors, it'll take them 16 hours to finish. Obviously there will be some who don't finish. So from 7:20 a.m. when they get in the water up until midnight, there will be people out there in our fair city, running around, biking around, swimming around.
And it's really fun to be a part of the fanfare too, or all the volunteers.
Yeah, there are a lot of amazing portions of hosting an Ironman. I think one of them that doesn't get enough attention is the number of volunteers. There will probably be more volunteers than there are competitors. I know in previous years there's been close to 4,000 volunteers. So we're talking about 2,700 competitors and maybe close to 4,000 volunteers. So that gives you an idea just of how much it takes to make one of these things go smoothly. And that's a real testament to the community spirit in Chattanooga, that they're able to recruit that many volunteers to come out and help in the heat for something like this. So.
Our managing editor of the paper here, Allison Gerber, is volunteering.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so she'll be out there, and whoever's out there, man, have water this weekend. Volunteers,
absolutely.
Participants, and you'll see volunteers giving water along the way for people participating.
Yeah, absolutely. And another thing worth noting, I was talking to the chief medical officer for the event, and he said this is probably going to be the hottest year that we've had for Ironman Chattanooga. So to be careful out there, make sure you hydrate. If you're a competitor, race day isn't the day to start trying new hydrating techniques. Just stick to what you know. And then, of course, for the spectators, just water, hydrate.
Don't drink too much of anything else, okay? Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you need to hydrate. The heat is ridiculous this year.
Yeah, so don't overdo it on the coffee when you're out there at the swim at 7:20
or alcohol, okay? Yeah. All right, and let's talk about you reminded me saying stick to what you know, do what you've been doing. The training for this probably varies from person to person, I'm sure. What does that look like for something of this level?
Well, I have no room to even begin to try and break down
No?
what the training is for one of these things.
Me neither.
But I mean, obviously, if you've entered an Ironman, you've done some sort of pretty intense preparation.
I would think so.
So
more power to you.
You know, locally, that's folks going on bike rides. You know, a lot of times you may see
spending like hours a day though training for something like this, right?
A couple of folks who I talked to who are doing it. You know, they spend all day on their day off on a bike ride to get ready for this.
It's a true commitment.
I think, you know, it's not just race day; it's months, I mean, in some cases, years of preparation in advance to become an Ironman. And it's no small feat.
And let's talk about after the feat. What do these people do once they pass through that finish line? Eat, party, drink, hug friends and family? What do you do?
I mean, the first thing I would want to do would be to sleep.
Sleep?
But I've also heard that crossing the finish line of an Ironman is the closest you'll ever be to feeling like you're a rock star. So maybe you get an adrenaline rush after you.
I would think so. I guess people probably react differently. Yeah. Especially if it's midnight. I mean, yeah. Sleep, David. You're way too young for that. You know. Do we have any questions, or we covered everything for everybody pretty much? Okay. If you do have any questions, go on our Chattanooga Times Free Press Facebook page, or you can email David Cobb.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure.
dcobb@timesfreepress.com.
So let us know what you want to see covered, and we are certainly going to be there Sunday. And anything else you wanna add for us? And if you're participating, best of luck. Hydrate. And we'll be back at 11 and our Ironman coverage. Question.
I don't know if you can answer this, but it says which roads will be blocked.
Which roads will be blocked?
I know it's hard for you to answer.
In fact, I have a little handy-dandy pamphlet right here that breaks down the road closures. Thank you for bringing that question to our attention.
Who brought that question to our attention? Whose question is that, Shaquem?
I lost his name. Let me try to find it.
We'll mention after you go over this, but thank you.
Yeah, so there's going to be a full breakdown of the road closures in the paper, probably tomorrow, maybe again on Friday. But just the main ones that you'll want to know, if you're on Interstate 24 and you're trying to exit to go south onto Market Street, you're not going to be able to do that. So find another way into the city center. If you're trying to get into the Market Street area, that's one of the main streets that the bicyclists use during that portion of the event. So you're not going to be able to exit the interstate and go south onto Market Street. You're also not going to be able to get onto Interstate 24 from southbound Market Street. So be careful there. From now up until midnight on Sunday when the race ends, Riverfront Parkway is closed down there at Ross's Landing. I mean, they're already setting up the Ironman Village Expo, stuff like that. I think they started doing that even earlier this week. I know they're up there today. Okay. So yeah, there are some road closures. You can get those at the Chattanooga.gov, and then also, like I said, we'll have those in the paper as well.
And on our website?
Yeah, timesfreepress.com as well. But that's probably the big one I would say, is that if you're trying to get off the interstate at southbound Market Street, you're not going to be able to do that just because there will be cyclists in that right-hand lane, and obviously there's a safety concern there.
Gotcha. Did we find out who asked us that question?
Yes, it was Joel Beaver.
Joel Beaver?
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks for the question. We hope you answered it. Again, check on the website for all those logistics. And this is when our Ironman coverage is about to get going, just like that race. So be looking out for that. Thank you for your time today. He's working hard on everything for you. David Cobb, Outdoors Reporter. Rock on. Be a rock star. You guys too.